Hey guys, it's Kitten, and it's super fucking hot in my room. It's 85. No, not 85, 83. 83 in this fucking room. That's why I have a literal sweat towel. Okay. I have an actual announcement for the beginning of this video. If you just want to go to the ghost story part, I'll put a link, not a link, I'll put a timestamp in the description down below, so you'll just like ignore my beginning part here. I'm gonna be making a Patreon, partly because I'm already so small in the YouTube world. Just look at my subscriber count. I'm super fucking small. So I don't expect getting any Patreons like for a while, but I thought it would be smart to make one because the whole YouTube ad revenue thing is going down, and I already make very, very little ad revenue. That's all you need to know. I am in the middle of making the Patreon page. I probably won't put the link down below right away because I'm literally stuck on the $5 reward tier because I'm just like, what the fuck do people want from me? I don't know. I draw, I write, I make videos. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want for $5? I do know that I'm gonna either make a higher up reward tier of making either writing a customized story with you as the main character, or putting you as a character in one of my books that I'm writing. Yeah. I don't know what people would potentially want from me because I'm just like, any money is good money. I don't understand why you would give me at least $1, but there it is for you. Thank you. I'm just one of those weird people that like, I know it's smart to make a Patreon, but it's just, it feels weird taking people's money. Even though I know it's like a business smart thing to do, it's a weird feeling to me. That's the end of the announcement. Onward to my scary shit. Yay. Anyway, this is the video where I explain the Zach dream I had years ago. I honestly don't remember the exact year I had it. I know I was either in 8th grade or freshman year or sophomore year. It was one of those, it was in that time span, either in the beginning of high school or the end of middle school. And I'm gonna be telling every single goddamn detail that I remember. Do not be weirded out by the end of the dream. I know it's weird. It was weird for me when I woke up from it. But just don't overthink it, okay? It wasn't exactly a one dream thing. It was one of those things where I dreamt and I woke up, but like when I went straight back to sleep, it went back to it, sort of. The first part of the dream, they both felt the same, so I figured that they were connected. They looked the same and they felt the same, and I woke up the same for both. The people in the dream are not the same. I usually, for some reason, this dream is still very clear in my mind. The first dream, I started out in the back of a car. I knew it wasn't like a truck or a Jeep or a van. It was like a normal car. And I remember I was laying down in the back seat, and it was one of those things where you wake up in your dream and I remember waking up, and the person that was in the driver's seat was this older man. I don't remember like specific like faces in any of the dreams. I don't, like, usually people can't remember like actual faces, but they know the general idea of what the person looked like in their dreams. I wake up in the back of the car, and this guy in the driver's seat is in his like middle-aged, and the most defining feature of him was that he had like I don't know how to describe it. Like he had a hairline that was receding hairline. He had a receding hairline, and then his hair was kind of like that weird slicked back kind of look. Fucking creepy. The fucking creepy slicked back, low, like receding hairline kind of look. I don't remember his face, but I know that he fucking scared me. I just, for some reason, it was one of those things where I just knew, and it was like I knew the car was parked. We weren't moving at all, and for some reason I got really scared because like I just kind of knew that the guy that was driving was this pretty much a serial killer. I specifically knew that he liked to torture his victims by dissecting them while they were still alive. For some reason, that was a detail that I knew in the dream for some reason, so that fucking scared me. And so I decided to jump out of the car, of the back seat. I was not handcuffed or anything like that, and the car door was unlocked. So I bolted out, and I remember him kind of getting up and like trying to follow me. The one thing that I felt weird for that dream was that I know I was specifically running, but for some reason he was doing this weird fast walk, yet he was close enough to me that it felt like he was running, if that makes sense, but he wasn't. So it was one of those weird dream, surreal, like distance things. I remember specifically that we were parked at a curb of what looked to be a apartment complex, but in my head for some reason I knew it was a police station. So I don't know why we were there for some reason. Either way, like I was running to get help, pretty much. And I think there was like no doors except one on the building. So I was running down the sidewalk, periodically looking behind me, seeing the creepy guy following me. And then I get to the door of the apartment building police station situation thing, and I remember the door was unlocked, and it wasn't one of those business building doors. It was an actual like single hinged doorknob wooden door, and I remember just grabbing the doorknob and opening it, and it still looked like an apartment building inside. It looked like I had just walked into a apartment, but still it was still a fucking police station. I don't know. So I remember like feeling super fucking afraid, and like I run into the apartment. I remember seeing at least 3 people in the room. I remember like there was a fucking living room with a couch, and then like a dining room table and like chairs, and then a kitchen. And I remember like hallways leading off that. But there was 3 people. There was I think there was 2 people sitting at the dining room table, and then 1 standing next to it. I don't remember the genders. I don't remember the faces. I don't remember who these people were. I just remember like frantically yelling like, "Please close the door," and like it was something about "Please close the door. He's coming to get me." one of them, I don't remember if it was the one standing or one of them that was sitting. One of them, like, kind of walked over to the door, and I remember specifically right as the door closed, he was there at the door, and the door slammed on his face, type of thing, and that's when I woke up. It was really intense, like, knowing that this evil person was following me, and I somehow escaped and woke up. And so when I woke up, I was really freaked out. It was one of those weird things where I woke up covered in sweat, shaking. It was one of those things, but I know it wasn't like a night terror or anything. It was just a very vivid dream where my body had a physical reaction to it. I just know it was one of those weird things where I was able to quickly fall back asleep, like, right after I woke up. Even though I was, like, covered in sweat and, like, super, like, afraid and shooken up and stuff, like, but I was still able to, like, fall back asleep rather quickly. I don't know how, but I was able to manage it. Okay, both dreams begin the same, but it's definitely different people and different settings. With the first dream, it was like police station / apartment complex that was obviously in like a city. The second dream was in a completely different location. It looked like one of those desert motels that was in the middle of nowhere. There was like no definite sidewalks, just like sand and dirt. And like the only buildings that was in the second dream was that literal motel. And I've stayed in a lot of motels, and this was definitely like a motel, like a 2-story motel, not a high-class hotel, like in Vegas or something. Okay, the beginning of the first dream, I woke up in the back seat of a car. I don't remember exactly what kind of car this time. I just know it was a vehicle of some sort. So I again wake up in the back of this car. It's a completely different guy in the driver's seat. And I found out later this is the guy that was driving was Zach's brother. Because for the longest time I thought the guy that was driving was Zach, but it confused me because the guy that was driving and then the guy I see later looked completely different. So I was just like, what? For the longest time, because I didn't understand like what was happening. All I remember about Zach's brother is that I don't know why he was in my dream, for one thing. I just don't know. And he was definitely blonde. And the one definite thing about his face that I remember clearly that I knew was there, this weird scar that was on the side of his face. I don't know where or how he got it. It was just a definite feature on his face. For this dream, I don't have any kind of like pre-knowing things, because in the first dream, like, I kind of knew magically who the guy was, and in this dream, like, I had no idea who this guy was. And again, I was fucking freaked out. This time, I knew the car was moving, but for some reason at a really low speed, or a speed that was not lethal to me. So I ended up, again, jumping out of the backseat of the car, even though it was moving. And I remember as I got out, the car immediately braked, but I just kept running. And again, like, I was in this setting of like a barren desert with this single motel, like, just there. And I remember that there was like no trees around, no plant life of anything. I ran to the backside of the motel, and I kept on, like, I looked at each window and tried to see like which window was open. And I ended up coming across a open window, and I remember climbing through the window and kind of crouching down. But for some reason, even though I said it was like one of those run-down desert motels, the inside of this room was obviously the lobby, because it was very big and open, but for some fucking reason, I remember there was like a reception desk. I don't know if anyone was there, but like the only definite features of the room that I remember is it looked a lot fancier and bigger than normal for a rundown desert motel, partly because there was a fucking grand piano right next to the window that I had climbed into. So since I was like, the grand piano was right there, I ended up kind of crouching and kind of hiding kind of under it. So that happens. And then this other guy, who ends up being Zach later, I find out later that it was Zach, that kind of runs through the front door looking for me. And because I was hiding so poorly, gonna be honest, he immediately spots me. And the features that I remember that about him was, from my distance, he looked really tall. I remember he didn't have blonde hair, he had like brunette brown hair like me. I remember specifically that both guys had like military buzz cuts, or like at least short hair. I don't remember specifically how long or short their hair was. I think like a specific feature of Zach's clothes, to be particular, I remember that he was just wearing like a plain black shirt and then jeans, and that's it that I remember. That, like, I don't remember like any specific visible scars or like any specific facial features. Like I remember the hair color, the clothes, and that he looked like a athletic military build is how I remember it. I remember him like running into the room and looking around and immediately spotting me, and so I'm just like, shit. And then I immediately turn around and like climb back out of the window. And this part of the dream, I do not think too hard about it, okay? Just don't. This next part, back when I first had it, I was very confused by it. Very confused by it. I remember as I climbed out of the window, I didn't climb out into the desert terrain that the motel was on, but I kind of climbed into this like dark black kind of void, dream void type of situation. I ended up pretty much seeing, don't overthink it, please don't overthink it. I pretty much saw me and Zach having sex. Pretty much. I didn't know it was Zach at the time. I just remember specifically that it was the same guy that had run into the lobby room because, again, his hair was not blonde. So it was the same guy that was running into the lobby room. But it was one of those weird things where I wasn't, like, I was kind of on the sidelines watching it happen, even though I knew the chick under him was me. I don't know. I just remember, we're gonna get oddly specific here. I just remember it was missionary position, and I remember, like, I could barely see myself, but I saw all of him, his back, but I didn't see his face. The one thing that fucking weirded me out when I first had it was that I saw that I was enjoying it. I don't know why that weirded me out when I first had the dream, but that one thing weirded me out so much. When I saw my face, I was obviously enjoying it. And just so you know, this was back when I was like not experienced romantically at all. Like, first kiss, none. Like, like no sexual experience, no first kiss, just nothing. So when I saw this, I was just confused because like one was enjoying sex from this random guy I didn't know in a dream. And the other specific thing that drew my attention was his back. I still don't know where he got them or how it happened. But I remember his whole back was just scarred up. I don't remember if it was like partial burn scars or like scars inflicted by a blade or something sharp or something like that. But like his whole back was just fucking scarred up. I think that's the only part of him that I remember seeing that scarred up. It was just his back. It was just, it weirded me out a little bit that, like, I saw that happen. And just so you know, when I had this dream, I didn't know Zach existed. I didn't know I had, like, special gifts. I just knew ghosts were real and, like, this dream was weird. That is the extent of knowledge I had when I had this. It was later when I found out, when I told a good friend of mine this dream, that they were like, that may be something more significant than you think than just a dream. And then I found out later that specifically the second part of the dream, that was Zach and Zach's brother. And how it was explained to me was the sex part in particular was part of this ritual thing where a spirit kind of attaches to a living being as its guardian. I don't know. I don't know how these things work. I really don't. I just know that Zach is there to kind of protect my being from other spirits, is how I know. I'm doing these hand movements because the whole thing just confuses me to this day. I don't know, really, honestly. It was a strange dream, and I never found out who the guy was in the beginning, like the first dream. Now that I think about it, my guess is that was the first demon, the really, really bad one that was attached to me when I was like really young, and I'm assuming the first dream was me cutting that bad one out of my life, and then like Zach kind of stepping in and protecting me, I guess. So it was pretty much Zach kicking him out, like, to better assure that like shit like that didn't happen. Which makes honestly sense, because I remember when that bad demon dude was hanging around was when I was mentally not in a very good place, and mentally was just very sad and depressed and suicidal. So I knew the bad one was feeding off that, and I knew that's why he hung around. And I think Zach didn't like that, like, at all. So he wanted to step in and be like, bitch, go away. So that's how my logic goes with that. I don't know if it's true or not. I just know that Zach exists and the bad one existed. I don't know what happened other than that. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here because I don't wanna be filming anymore in this hot room. Let's see the temperature. Oh, the temperature is still 83.8. Yay. Please don't overthink that last part of the dream. Please don't overthink it. I'm gonna go. Bye.